At least you don't have to go that far to find him. Best of luck to you today and all the safety. We'll see you when it's all over.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
A lot more than a notable.
Thank you. Last week, that doesn't mean it's for this week.
That's right.
When we come back, it's the part of the sport that scares us all, when a driver's life is lost while he's doing what he truly loves. Our thoughts are with the family of Dan Wheldon today, who was killed a week ago, and he is riding with the field today. When we come back, the scary reality of this sport and how do drivers put it aside. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, the focus of today is 500 miles at NASCAR's biggest track. But behind the focus, these 43 drivers are racing with heavy hearts. 1 week ago, the motorsports world lost a champion and a friend. Dan Wheldon was killed at Las Vegas Motor Speedway while racing in the IndyCar Series season finale, and his death has touched us all.
The racing community gets very small very quickly when something like that happens.
Dan was a friend. You know, there's a lot of competitors that are competitors, but Dan was a friend.
Well, he's just a happy person that I think with anybody, didn't matter who it was, he just always, you know, took care of him and showed him a good time, and you knew that he was a good-hearted guy.
He always had like quick one-liners, and he was always one of the guys that was kind of keeping everybody laughing and having a good time.
It doesn't get any better than Dan. He was built to be an IndyCar driver and was darn good at it.
It hit us at home hard, but I think as a race car driver, you have to set those things aside and go and do your job.
You know, it's what we do, it's what we like to do, it's what we wake up to do. I go to the racetrack and I feel like the racetrack is vacation. This is fun, this is what what I grew up to always want to do.
We know that that is a risk. We know that that's something that can happen, but there's a serious love and a passion for it.
Dan was doing what he dreamed of doing from the time he was a little kid.
My deepest thoughts and prayers go out to the Wheldon family. Dan, we're going to miss you, buddy. Thanks for all the laughs over the years.
And he was loved by so many. I want to bring in Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie into our discussion. We just heard Casey Mears say something that stood out to me. As drivers, you set it aside. It's your job. You climb back into the car. But this is the first race after that accident. As a driver, how do you climb back in the car?
Well, Nicole, I always found that this is what I did. I was a competitor, just like Casey Mears said. This is what we do. That week after something major had happened, just like this incident, yeah, you were a little bit more reserved leading up to that. But whenever it came time to race, that was my job. That's what I chose to do. I knew there were risks involved, just like everyone else out there knew that same thing. What we did was never going to be 100% safe. Myself and my family certainly always appreciated everything that NASCAR did to try to make the race cars safer. But at speeds of over 200 miles per hour, you always knew that there was that element of danger. Yes, sometimes that was something that drove us a little bit. It was that passion to be the best and to try to win that kept me going. I knew that if I ever let that get in my mind and in the way, I needed to find something else to do. But I was willing to take that risk because that's what I wanted to be doing.
You know, it takes a special person to be a professional race car driver. And, you know, I had a chance early in my crew chief career. I had an opportunity to drive some nationwide races and maybe pursue a career as a driver. But, you know, you have to accept that risk of running at all the tracks that they run on. A lot of them are pretty scary. This is one of them. You know, and honestly, you ask yourself, do you have what it takes? And it had too much risk for me. You know, I decided, and I don't have any regrets. I pursued a crew chief career and had a very, very wonderful career as a crew chief. But you know, sometimes you just ask them, you know, are you scared to do it or not? And obviously I didn't want it bad enough, and I was a little bit afraid of what these things can do to you.
Thanks for that honesty, guys. It's kind of scary. There are a lot of nerves. It's very anxious. Yeah. It goes with the territory, but it's still there. Dan Wheldon was laid to rest yesterday in his home of St. Petersburg, Florida. He was 33 years old. He came to the U.S. in 1999 with dreams of racing glory, dreams that became a reality with 2 Indianapolis 500 wins, an IndyCar Series championship, and 16 total career wins. He was the driver with the impossibly bright smile, the larger-than-life personality, and the man charged with helping develop a safer open-wheel future. But for all of his talent behind the wheel, and it was immense, Dan's life cannot be summed by what was accomplished on a racetrack. Racing was his passion, but Dan Wheldon was more than just a driver. His greatest gift, his legacy, is his family, his wife Susie, and his two sons, Sebastian and Oliver. Dan was a racer, but he was also a friend, a brother, a son, a husband, and a father. He is also missed.